They must hate our country.
Slamming those 4 Democratic women lawmakers, the squad, all women of color.
I think they're very bad for the Democrat Party. I think you.
Welcome to all new edition of Viral. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix, here, joining the conversation using hashtag Viral. As we talk about, President Donald Trump calls out 4 Democrat women who speak against their beliefs, their values, and their perspective of America. How did we get this debate started? With this.
President Trump's still on the attack.
Well, I think they're very bad for our country. I really think they must hate our country.
Slamming those 4 Democratic women lawmakers, the squad, all women of color.
I think they're very bad for the Democrat Party. I think you see that. And they're pulling the Democrats way left.
This morning on Twitter, the president calling the 4 women lawmakers, quote, a very racist group of troublemakers who are young, inexperienced, and not very smart. That tweet coming at 10:48 a.m. Eastern time. 2 minutes later, the president and first lady arrived at the Supreme Court to pay their respects to the late Justice John Paul Stevens. Still, the president insisting Monday he's not stoking racial tension in this country.
No racial tension.
President Trump also pushing back on a deeply reported Washington Post story about the fallout from his racist tweets last week. And the chants of "send her back" by supporters at his campaign rally. The Post says aides, in an effort to get the president to focus on the policies of the congresswomen, gave Mr. Trump talking points and reams of opposition research on them. The president calling that total fake news. Except last week during a cabinet meeting, the president held up a piece of paper and said,
I have a list of things here said by the congresswomen that is so bad, so horrible.
Robert Mueller is set to testify on Capitol Hill on Wednesday. Critics say President Trump is keeping up this feud as a distraction from that appearance. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
All right, Trump said this about the 4 congresswomen with this defiant statement.
It doesn't concern you that many people saw that tweet as racist and that white nationalist groups are finding common cause with you on that point.
It doesn't concern me because many people agree with me. And all I'm saying, they want to leave, they can leave. Now, it doesn't say leave forever. It says leave if you want. But what it says, what that says is, if they're not happy with the United States, if they're doing nothing but criticizing us all the time, you see these people walking down criticizing the United States. We just hit the highest stock market in history. All of these incredible manufacturers that are in, these are great business people. They employ many people, and we have workers with us too. They're having the best year they've ever had. Can I say that? Is that a correct statement? So, and they're hiring more people than they've ever had, and more people are making a good living than they've ever had. We just hit 27,000 plus on the Dow. It's the highest the stock market has ever been. And you have to go by the election because the market started going up the day after I won. You know, they like to add all of that tremendous gain. They like to try and give it to Obama. The fact is, if I would have lost, the stock market would crash. And if these people that I watch in those debates ever got their hands on the United States government, 401ks, the values of your company, everything else that we talk about we're so proud of, it's down the tubes. People will lose their money. They'll lose their wealth. You'll have a crash like you've never seen before. And I'm really good at this stuff. I know what I'm talking about. Thank you all very much. Thank you. The press. Wow, that's a lot of press. Look.
What were you talking about in your tweet about going back to their home?
Well, I didn't mention names, and I didn't do that, but I will tell you, with our country, and I think everybody in this audience, these are great manufacturers, great workers in our audience too. They brought a lot of their workers here. If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. And that's what I say all the time. That's what I said in a tweet, which I guess some people think is controversial. A lot of people love it, by the way. A lot of people love it. But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right, not to be done by the four congresswomen held a press conference about the president's so-called alleged racist language, and AOC and her band of congresswomen responded to the president with this.
This is a president who has openly violated the very value our country aspires to uphold: equality under the law, religious liberty, equal protection, and protection from persecution. And to distract from that, he's launching a blatantly racist attack on 4 duly elected members of the United States of House of Representatives, all of whom are women of color. This is the agenda of white nationalists. Whether it is happening in chat rooms or it's happening on national TV, and now it's reached the White House garden. He would love nothing more than to divide our country based on race, religion, gender, orientation, or immigration status, because this is the only way he knows he can prevent the solidarity of us working together across all of our differences.
It's simply a disruption and a distraction from the callous, chaotic, and corrupt culture of this administration all the way down. We want to get back to the business of the American people and why we were sent here: reducing the cost of prescription drugs, addressing the public health crisis and epidemic that is gun violence, addressing the racial wealth gap, and yes, making sure that families stay together. I also would like to just underscore the fact that despite the occupant of the White House attempts to marginalize us and to silence us, please know that we are more than 4 people. We ran on a mandate to advocate for and to represent those ignored, left out, and left behind. Our squad is big. Our squad includes any person committed to building a more equitable and just world. And that is the work that we want to get back to. And given the size of this squad and this great nation, we cannot, we will not be silenced.
So I am not surprised when the president says that 4 sitting members of Congress should, quote, go back to their own country, when he has authorized raids without warrants on thousands of families across this country. I am not surprised that he uses the rhetoric that he does when he violates international human rights and takes thousands of children away from their families. I am not surprised that he has turned our public education system under the leadership of Betsy DeVos into a cash cow to enrich himself and his friends. I am not surprised when he corrupts via the Secretary of Transportation. I am not surprised at what he's doing. But I also know that we're focused on making it better, because we don't leave the things that we love. And when we love this country, what that means is that we propose the solutions to fix it. We love all people in this country, and that's why we believe healthcare is a human right. We love all children in this country, and because we do, that's why we fight for education for all children through college. And so we'll stay focused on our agenda, and we won't get caught slipping, because all of this is a distraction. It's a distraction from what's most important and from our core values as American citizens. And with that, I'll hand it over to Rashida Tlaib.
Thank you to my sisters in service. Thank you all so much for being here. As we all know, the recent tweets and words from the president are simply a continuation of his racist and xenophobic playbook. We cannot allow these hateful actions by the president to distract us from the critical work to hold this administration accountable to the inhumane conditions at the border that is separating children from their loved ones and caging them up in illegal, horrific conditions. I represent the third poorest congressional district in this country, one that is made up of working people who have been targeted by this administration, and their actions and words are hurting them today. I was elected to fight for them, fight for the 13th congressional district. They sent me here to Congress to fight back against the corporate assault and the corruption in our country. This means supporting an impeachment inquiry of this president and his actions by the administration and his appointees. Sadly, this is not the first, nor will it be the last time we hear disgusting, bigoted language from the president. We know this is who he is, and we know that he and his administration are constantly engaged in actions that harm residents and American people in our country. Many members of Congress have called for his impeachment because of his utter disregard and disrespect of the United States Constitution. And despite this and other many attempts to distract us, I remain focused. We remain focused on holding him accountable to the laws of this land and accountable to the American people.
All right, the four congresswomen didn't hold back and wanted to let the president know how they feel about the racism in the country. Well, you know, it's a world wars where, you know, the president wants to say what he want to say and they want to say what they want to say. It just, sometimes there are pitfalls in every situation and stuff, speaking even in the United States. But hey, let us know what you think out there. So join in that conversation. Leave a comment and tell us what you think. Was the president wrong for just saying, tell them to go back to their country? Or were they right to just say, hey, no, America is the land of free. You ain't going nowhere just because we have First Amendment right. So, hey, you know, it's a battlefield, a political battlefield at best. I've been your host, Kendrick, saying so long. We'll see you next time here on Vibe.